all he wanted to do was play basketball. He said he wasn't an actor, he wasn't a model, he was a ball player. Hey y'all, this is Nothing Lightly. I'm C's and I'm here with my co-host Deedee. We're back with another episode. And we gonna get y'all started. We've been watching a lot of basketball, especially college women's basketball. We want to touch on a little bit of football because we know in 1 week it'll be the very anticipated Super Bowl. Um, and then we just gonna talk about the NBA. What is our thoughts on that? Where's that headed? And how do we feel about what's going on in the basketball world? So, Deasia, let's kick us off. Where do you want to start in this conversation? Well, let's first start off with what's happening in the WNBA. We know that they're at this point where the season is not, they're in their off season right now. There's a lot of other leagues going on. Some players are overseas right now. Some players are playing unrivaled, and some are getting ready for Athletes Unlimited. But right now, the players that are in the WNBA, they have they're in this sort of weird spot. They're sitting there great. They're in this gray area where they got to figure out, are they going to play? Because the negotiations from what we're seeing and what's out there in the media is that it's still not settled. And a lot of players aren't happy with the negotiations that were, sent out to them right now. So several players are threatening not to play, and we know that this may lead to a lockout. Now, this isn't something new. This has happened in other sports, and it even happened in the NBA. And so this is something that it can happen. It'll be unfortunate to the fans, but it's something needed for the players because they want to get the money that they deserve. Not only that, but get the acknowledgement that they are the ones that's pushing this league forward. And I'm in support. I know a lot of other fans here. How do you feel about what they're threatening to do? I don't think it's a bad thing. It's already been done. What are your thoughts? As a fan, yes, of course, you want to see women's basketball professionally on TV. We know that in May that season normally kicks off, and I think with more teams they want to even extend the season, so it might be coming up in April. So we do want that to happen. It's not a good thing for as a fan that is eager to watch or excited to watch. You want to see this play out, but it's a lot of factors because they might extend the season. What does that mean for college women's basketball? They just finished the March Madness happens all through March, right? And they normally play those championship games at the end of March or sometime in April. So you mean to tell me they only have a few weeks if they want to play professionally? See, that's kind of that's a conversation there. But I've also later seen that the WNBA wants to take back their stake. The NBA owners have, I think it's like 22% stake in the WNBA, and they saying, no, we want it back. We've proven that we can do this. And so that's a conversation as well. If you look at it, NBA owners are making a lot of money just being a part of the WNBA. And what do they don't really, the owners itself, they don't really promote the WNBA. You see that more come from the NBA players. So it makes sense why they will want their ownership back. And if they can get that, then they can also pay the players the revenue, or they'll have more revenue so they can pay the players what they deserve. But as far as playing the players, this part of the conversation, it's like it's a no-brainer. They deserve to get paid because this is who we come to watch. We don't come to watch amateurs. You come to watch the best professionally, and they deserve to get paid because look at they the ones that are increasing the value of the WNBA, especially in the last 4 to 5 years. It's the players that's doing that. It's nothing that we see differently as far as the NBA, because the NBA players themselves have been saying, oh, this is some of the greatest basketball you can watch. These are some of the greatest players on the world. They've been pushing and motivating and encouraging people to watch. It wasn't the NBA players. It's something bigger as far as now they didn't have an audience or people didn't like it. They've already proven people do like it. They have the audience. Everybody wants to watch women's sports and everybody wants to watch women's basketball. They've proven it. And how did they prove that recently, Diaz? They recently proved that with Unrivaled. There was a big game. Well, 2 big games, obviously, that happened yesterday. That's how they do their season. But what they did was they brought Unrivaled to Philadelphia, and in that they had over 21,000 fans. It was the most that that arena has ever seen. Now, be mindful that there are two other teams that play in that arena, the 76ers, and then I think it's their hockey team as well, if I'm not mistaken. But even still, just knowing that the 76ers play there and it's unrivaled, this is not even a WNBA. This is basically
3-on-3 basketball.
3-on-3 basketball. A lot of fans, they packed that arena. That's the most that arena has ever had. And they came to see women play 3-on-3 basketball. So
And
that's just telling you, for all those people that the naysayers saying, oh, nobody's watching women basketball. Why do y'all promote women basketball? This is a terrible sport. Nobody wants to watch it. Well, 21,000 fans came out one night, yesterday night. That's not even talking about the media coverage, what was on TV, what was on the internet. People are watching. People are invested in this. People love women's basketball. This is proven. So to me, I don't want anybody coming to me saying, oh, yeah, I don't watch women's sports. I really just don't like it. Like how? You might not, but there's a lot of people that really care about this sport. And that showed last night. So shout out to Unrivaled. Shout out to the players that was a part of that. Shout out to the WNBA. Even fans that love women's basketball, shout out to you all for going to watch, and those that watched online. This is what we're talking about. Keep pushing this sport forward. It's not just for the players, it's for the longevity of this sport. You know, Sierra, it's the sport as a whole. We have to support it. And I mean, that was just amazing to see.
Yeah, and I also want to note that this was, and I couldn't believe this when actually, Diaz, you told me about this this morning. I couldn't believe it that this was the most sold out game regular season for women's basketball professionally. I couldn't believe that when you see the numbers that Caitlin Clark has put up, those numbers that she put up in Iowa, those numbers that she also put up in Indiana. I just couldn't believe it. But to see that a city like Philadelphia was able to accomplish that, that's amazing. And what's more amazing, and this is for women's basketball, not just the WNBA. This is women's basketball, saying how it's on the rise. And we've been saying this for now almost 18 episodes now, Deja. We've been promoting it. So we just encouraging you all as our listeners, hey, tap in.
And when I want to say, this is the real number that they had 21,490 fans that came out to Xfinity Mobile Arena last night. 2 games was played, Phantom and the Breeze, and then Lunar Owls versus the Rose. Now, it's one player that I want to shout out that's dropped 47 points in this 3-on-3 basketball game. She hit 27 points in 7 minutes, and that's Marina Mabry. This is a player that she's been in the league for a while, Sierra. She's one of those veteran players. She gets a lot of her notoriety because she's just a gritty player. But not only that, of course she can hoop, she can score, but she's kind of feisty. But what she does is she's like a Skylar Diggins. You not gonna get over on her. Sierra, she's that type of player. And I like to see this because a lot of people, they don't like her game. But she's proven, just like the WNBA is proving people wrong, Unrivaled is too. But Marina Mabry, she's also proven people wrong with 47 points. I think she had a quote like, for all those people that said I can't hoop, like, come to the front immediately, please.
Yeah, because I think that she's bounced around. We saw in the last few years to teams. That the emphasis and the impact that she makes on teams, but she just kind of been up and down over the last few years in her career. And she's one of those players that's an X factor. She's one of those players that can change a game on both sides of the court, actually. So to see her have this individual success, it's amazing for her career.
And we know what Unrivaled does. Look what happened last year. All those players here, they saw an increase in whether that was points, rebounds, just really affecting the game better. So Unrivaled is that type of, if you want to become a better player, you should go play in Unrivaled. So I can't wait to see what she's going to, if she's dropping 47 in this 3-on-3, I can't wait to see how this even translates more for her game. And this is somebody, Sarah, she can drop 20 on you and you won't realize it. So I want to see her do that consistently throughout a season. And like you said, get her team into the playoffs and really be a contender. Yeah. Sometimes she falls to teams where they're good, but then they lose too.
And they really need her. Yeah. But the team is growing, or the team is just trying players to redevelop. Yeah. And they use her, but it's not, she doesn't have the longevity of success throughout the season that we want to see.
Now let me say this before you move on. So when we go back to what other leagues have had lockouts, like how the WNBA is starting at right now. You've had the NHL, they was locked out for an entire season in 2004 and 2005, which they also had other lockout. So that's hockey. The NBA, the infamous time when they locked out for 161 days in 2011. But again, they have also had other lockouts. Then you had the NFL. They was also had a lockout in 2011, and along with other years. And then the MLB, their most recent was between 2021 and 2022. They had a 99-day lockout. So this is not something new. Players decide to strike. Referees even strike. But why is it a problem in the WNBA? Sierra, why do you think this is such a problem when women decide to strike? We see that not only in sports, but in other industries.
Because it does go back to that. We don't always want to use that conversation, but Deasia, you can't miss the fact that this is women led. The parties involved are women, and you just kind of take the short end of the stick. They kind of treat it like, oh well, they'll get over it. Just pay them, and it's not just pay them, or it's not let's not just pay them. It's not even that. It's bigger than that. But they continue to just push aside and expect. They do expect them to still be ready to play in May. And the reality is, Deasia, why would you play? Why, if you was working somewhere else, why would you work if you're the main source of the revenue? That doesn't make sense. But I think if they don't take a stand now, this will continue to happen. It'll come back around, and you don't want to create a precedent. Well, this is how we treated it this time, when you all could have made some moves, because the WNBA is going to keep growing. But if they don't push for what they deserve now, it's just going to be a bad trend. And sadly to say, yes, we see this in other industries. I work in healthcare. It strikes all over the place, and it's not fair to the people that are doing the work. It's not fair. So I do want to see them get paid. And I would like to even bring up this, that Unrivaled is showing the WNBA that, hey, if y'all don't figure it out, we can keep playing. That's what it's showing. I just think, though, in those other leagues that you mentioned, they just have more of a sense of urgency to figure it out. The NBA, I remember that. But, Deasia, it's like, it kind of was a glimpse, because before you knew it, even though it was almost 100 games, it was still that, it was the advertisement of the NBA. You kind of forgot that it happened. So, and for the WNBA, we know the struggles that some of the players have. They have a small budget for the cities that they have to play and where these players end up, and they have to live. They barely have enough to live there. So you know the struggles of the average player there. Yes, you have players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, that are making a lot of money, but that's more so through endorsements. It's through other sources that are not particularly basketball. It's through basketball that they've got these other opportunities, but that is not their main source of income. We talked about it before. Caitlin Clark was paid basically a rookie salary, and she is. We've already talked about it too much. She is one of the leaders of why all of this attention is even on the WNBA. That's just calling a spade a spade. But she's getting paid. She was getting paid still a rookie salary. It's crazy.
Yeah, so when looking at that, when we talk about strikes in other industries, you're a nurse. How do you feel about the nurses striking in New York? It's a similar thing, but when women do it, we know predominantly women are the nurses. I hate to say that in 2026, but that is the fact.
I want to say this: when people don't realize, when organizations strike, so those nurses that went on strike in New York, that took everybody. It just can't be one person to get and say, I'm not going to walk across the line. It takes a lot to get almost 10,000, 20,000, however many nurses are in that organization to be able to strike. Everybody has to come to an agreement that nobody is going to work. That's the only way it's going to be accomplished. So if we move this back to basketball, that conversation, they all have to be in agreement that we're not going to play. That's the only way it'll work.
And they're doing that because they're still not happy with what the WNBA said. Here are some of the things that they've said so far. The league is proposing, now they're proposing a 5 million team salary cap. Well, originally the union previously suggested that the salary cap is around 10.5 million to 12 million. So that's a big drop there. That's clearly, if that was you, Sierra, and you were one of these players, you would be unhappy with that. How is an entire league going to do something with $5 million when some players alone should be worth $1 million?
More than that. Yeah, DNA looking at the compensation. The league's proposal for 2026 includes a maximum base salary of $1 million. So, in other words, no player can make. This is another problem. You know, like you literally just said that some players should be worth more than $1 million, and then they're still having issues with flights, hotels, like you said, practice facilities. Not even talking about the game coverage. That's still a huge issue. So there's a lot of issues going on. And this is why the main issue, though, is that the revenue is increasing. However, the players are not seeing a return on what they're putting out. That's just like simple as this. You're going to work and you're working, but you're not, no matter how hard you work, you don't get paid more. You even get promoted, but you still don't get paid more. Yeah, it's a lot going into this because we know what this country is facing right now. It's inflation in general. But I saw a graph a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to kind of give you all a visual if you can follow what I'm about to say. Imagine a graph where you see almost a flat line, a little bit of growth from year to year. Let's just say from 2020 to now, DH, a little bit of growth. And then maybe in 2023, 2024, the league skyrocket. So it went from almost a flat line to skyrocket exponentially. But the players are still getting paid on that flat line. That doesn't make sense. When now you see that the revenue or how much as value of the WNBA it has shot up. But the players are still only making that flat line since, what did I say, 2020 or whatever? It's not, it doesn't make any sense. They should have a bigger piece of that growth. Yeah, and as we move on and we look at how this is affecting, just players, it's unfortunate because you have a lot of players coming from college. They're looking forward to playing in the WNBA, but this season it looks like you might have a lot of these players making their debut in Unrivaled. If Unrivaled is actually the league that continues this, and they've season. Already, a lot of the biggest players right now have already signed with Unrivaled, so they already contracted with them and will probably make more money there than they would in their rookie season. And that's going to be interesting that was actually set a precedent that a player will see, or they was, instead of starting their season, well, I guess you see that in the Olympics. Some players, they do start in the Olympics before they play in the WNBA. But what you will see this season, if the WNBA does have that lockout, you might see some of your draft picks, they will start in Unrivaled. And then you looking at what Paige Beckers is able to do in Unrivaled, it's remarkable. This is her first season. And they saying that Candace Parker was originally the face of the WNBA. Candace Parker went on record, I think that was yesterday or maybe a few days ago, and said that Paige is the new face of the WNBA. She is going to push it forward. And of course, you got A'ja Wilson, but just a young face, she is that player. You know that it's another person to bear the flag. Once A'ja Wilson, I don't see it no time soon, but even still, you have another generation that's coming alive right behind her. Yeah, and so talking about what has happened with Paige Beckers, we know a lot of her notoriety, just like Caitlin Clark, came from college. How do you feel about the state of women's college basketball right now, Sierra? Standings with UConn number 1, UCLA number 2, and South Carolina number 3. But this season has been up and down. We've seen a lot of great teams. Some teams have been undefeated 12, 13, 14 games, and UConn is the last standing undefeated. How do you feel about this season? I think this season is on fire. It's an amazing showcase of women's basketball, team basketball, but also you see some of the coaches that are leading these teams, you just buy into this story. You're attracted to that story. So I think this is a great spot, and it's a great turn to the conversation of what's happening in women's basketball, not just professionally, but you see college. I mean, it's exciting. It brings you back to those days when you was watching a Tennessee versus a North Carolina. You have these rivalries emerging. I mean, the top 3 teams, these were the teams that was in the Final Four or the Elite 8. These were those teams. So, and then you have LSU. You seeing how they were able to bounce back. You seeing the story of Flau'jae being able to overcome since what happened in the summer with USA basketball. So all of these stories, and you're just rooting for these players. But also you seeing that some of those portal picks, wherever they went, they're having success on their teams. So I just think women's basketball, as far as college, it's just gonna get more exciting. I can't wait to see what happens in March. UConn, let's see how long they can hold out, because we've seen so many teams that have went undefeated for 12, 13, 14, 15 games. Like, when do you see that? And it's not because they wasn't playing ranked teams, but when you see that they didn't beat a ranked team. If you look at the AP top 25, it's stacked. Like any team, yes, it's stacked. I look down the list and you see Ohio State, you see Oklahoma, you see these teams, Vanderbilt. I mean, Texas. So it's gonna be exciting because they're gonna have to play each other, and will that threaten the record? That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, one team that I want to shout out that I think that is, of course, I love South Carolina, but another team that I really love is LSU. And this year they have 5 players averaging double digits, including Malaysia Fulwiley, who transferred from South Carolina to is now LSU. How do you think that transfer of her, Sierra, coming to LSU, how do you think that made her a better team? And is she a better player now playing under Moki instead of Don Staley?
I think that she's a great player and her game was going to continue to grow wherever she was. But I think this team fits better with her style because they want to get up and down the floor. They want to get up in your pocket. They want to get up in your face. Not to say South Carolina wasn't about that, but Deidre, they kind of used her more so as an energy spark. When this team, LSU, is always about energy. We don't need to just spark the energy. We always have it. That's how they play. They play with energy. They are more successful when they're every game. They come out with energy and they finish the game like that. You don't really see any letdowns of that because it's brought out through the coach. So I think that I didn't see that her game was going to ever dip off. I always saw that her game was going to continue to grow, but it's great to see that she's having this success there. So it was a good move for her. You don't want to see a player the edge that they move, but then they kind of don't play or they have an injury or just something happens where it just didn't work out for them. That's devastating. In this case, you see the other side of it where she's seeing some success, where she's leading the team. She's a big part of why they are winning. So that's great to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this move has really, it has elevated her game in a way. You get to see her do some of the things that she wasn't able to do on South Carolina. Like, she's more loose with this team. We know that they need her. I think South Carolina, yes, they needed Malaysia Fulwiley, but they didn't need her as much as LSU. Without Malaysia Fulwiley, I don't put LSU ranked number 6. I put them, they'll probably still be top 15, but they are so much better with her. And even if Moki brings her off the bench, she's still able to affect the game much more than what she was able to do on South Carolina just because she's more loose. Like, Moki is allowing her to make more mistakes because, let's be honest here, if you want to look what's the more perfect team, South Carolina is a more perfected team than LSU. They're going to make more mistakes, but that's not the reason why they number 6. It's just because they are a gritty team. They're going to play hard. Sierra, like you said, they're going to bring the energy on every single possession. And this shows. You got 5 people in double figures, Sierra, averaging that through a season.
Yeah, that's hard through a season.
Yeah, that means that everybody has a big part on this team.
And also that means that they're sharing the ball. Everybody is getting their chance, their opportunity. It's not like, let's put you out there when we need you to make some plays defensively, and then once we get back in the game, we're taking you out. No, that means that they're sharing what's happening in the game.
They're sharing the load. And we not coming to South Carolina because we know they've been playing some great basketball. They're sitting at number 3 right now with a 21 win and 21 wins and 2 losses this season. They're playing amazing. They beating some of these teams that was also undefeated. That's how good they are. Another team that was undefeated who South Carolina went back and beat was Vanderbilt. And we know how good they are because of their top player. But South Carolina, over and over again, they prove why they should be. Actually, they should be number 2, I think, behind UConn. I don't know why they're sitting number 3 right now, but maybe it's just because they have 2 losses and UCLA only has 1. But South Carolina has just really put all their pieces together, and they're playing amazing basketball. You can see that they've really bought into what Don Staley wants from them. Raven is leading the floor, just really owning the possessions. But along with that, Sierra Edwards has really shown what she's about in this sophomore season. How good is she going to be?
I think that she is a player that continues to grow. I can see her being one of the top, if not going number 1 in her class, or she won't be nothing less than number 3 when she comes out. But she is the future of where South Carolina is headed. So, and you see a lot of freshmen are on the floor. Don Staley hasn't been shy to change up her lineup. So we are getting a taste to see that this team is very deep as they've been in the past 2-3 years. Yeah, and I think a player that really helped this team just become even better is Tanaya. She has pushed this team in a direction. When you lose a full Wiley, you bring her another scorer, and I think this is why they're sitting at number 3. Yeah. She's been a great addition. It's kind of like that same story of Malaysia. That this was a great fit for her. She was doing well on her other team. I mean, she was the top scorer last year. It's not that. It's just that she's with a team that has a chance to go for it, to win it all. So that's always better for a player. But her game is continuously amazing me. She can take you off the dribble, get to the basket, but then she can shoot. She can shoot the basketball, and that's what makes her very dangerous on the court. Yeah, so that's the women's college basketball. Now, as we transition into just sports in general with college, how do you feel about the NIL right now? A lot of people are saying that it's really affecting just the professional side of things. How do you feel about that? And maybe that's going into what you're saying, Sierra. Is the NBA not what it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago? Is college affecting that? Yes, I think college is definitely NIL is affecting how we see professionals emerge in the NBA. You don't it's not seen as much on the women's side, but it's definitely there on the men's side. When you have players that are 26, 27 and still playing. You've seen Calipari he's been vocal about this, that he doesn't like it. And you get what he's saying. Like, it's not fair that you have freshmen playing against people that are 26, 27, and they're kind of like getting around the system. Oh, red shirt year here. Oh, injury year here. This and that. Um, Lost eligibility. Now I regained it. It's crazy. And I think John Wall might have recently come out and say, yeah, players are now going from the professional league going back into college. Like, what is this? And that's because the restraints of the NCAA has become so loose that they are now interpreting it as it comes. Like, they're just figuring it out as they go. So it's not even just the teams or the person that is doing this. It's the NCAA that doesn't have more structured parameters around NIL. And the reason being is because this is something that we've never seen. Players are getting paid. You got high schoolers, Deasia, that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars because of their likeness. Do they deserve it? Yes, but it has to be some structure around it. You cannot just say, "Oh, you're gonna play a player 250,000 and never step foot on an NCAA college court." Or D1, D2, it doesn't matter. It's players D2, Deasia, or in junior college that are having a chance to make money. And I'm not against it. I am all for it. It's just that NCAA has to have some more structure. It should not be a conversation of why you are 27 and 28, and it ain't just basketball for the men. This is in college football too. Why you are still playing. There's a league for you. There's a professional league, whether that is the highest, the NFL or the NBA. There's also chances to play overseas, but you can't take away from a young teenager, 18 years old, coming into a college world and saying, "Oh, I'm going to play against this guy that's 28 years old, 350 pounds on the line of scrimmage." Come on now. And I'm not saying these aren't big guys that come out, but that's just my take on that conversation. That it is dampening it, or I don't want to say dampening, but it is impacting the NBA. And this is why we've been saying it, DH, and once LeBron goes, and I think this is the first season that we've saw that he is like taking a step back. He's not even a starter in the All-Star game coming up. In how many years? Over 20 seasons, he's not a starter. And that's saying something because it really comes down to he's missed so many games. He's played every other game besides the last few games. And that's due to injury, but also the load of having to play 80 plus games in a single season. It's a lot. He's 41 years old. But anytime he gets on the floor, DJ, I don't care what anybody says, and I'm saying it here on Nothing Lightly. He is the best player in the world on that court. He can do whatever he wants. Did you see him play last game? He took flight 3 different occasions, but the last one, he took flight and dunked the ball with his left hand. The ball was pretty much at the top of the backboard, and he still grabbed it. 41 years old and still being able to do that, it's crazy. So that's why I'm saying once he goes, and I think Deasia, I will give it 1 or 2 more seasons, if that. Who else? Who's next? you see the stories of OKC, Shea, even Indiana with Halliburton, Minnesota, you got Anthony Edwards. But Deasia, you still waiting for that player to have it all. And LeBron is just the last of his kind that has it all. And part of this comes because you see the drop off from college men's basketball. The fact that we're sitting here and talking more so about women's college basketball over men's tells you something. And it's not just this episode. We've done this before. And we watch them both. We give them both a chance. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. NIL is definitely changing the league. It's not just changing the NBA, it's changing football and college. We seeing these players go back from a professional league and go down and play in the college league. Or even if you coming from overseas, that's still the same thing. Or I don't know, if you was playing in some type of professional, you were done with college and you come back to a league, that is like, that was not heard of, Sierra. It's like when you went professional, that was it with you. Or if you finished college and you didn't go professional, that was still it with you. You did not have a chance to keep going.
But this comes back to the NCAA making it okay. Where's the eligibility? You shouldn't even be eligible. That's why
I'm thinking back when we were playing, when we was in college sports, Sierra, we had a 4-year eligibility when you started. Now the system is so changed, the red shirt don't even mean that much anymore. Like, remember, if you red shirt, okay, that gave you 5 years. But you knew your red shirt, if you got out there and played a full game or anything, that was it. Sierra, you could not, you know what I mean? I was listening to a story of, this is actually a rapper. He said that he was playing football, Sierra, and he said he had 4 years of eligibility with a team, right? And he was supposed to redshirt a year, right? What happened was the main quarterback got hurt, so he had to go in. They told him, "Oh, you're supposed to redshirt." But since that main quarterback got hurt, he had to play. He only played 1 game. That ruined his redshirt year. For filling in for somebody. Nowadays, it's so many rules that's up in the air that red shirt don't even mean. I don't even know the stats on that right now, the facts of what that means, because so many players now are 27, 30 years old. They are age. Yeah, that's just like us right now playing in college.
But it leads to the question that the NCAA is getting something from this. NIL, they were so against it for years, but now they're all for players getting paid, or they don't have any structure around it, where now it's almost like, yeah, they're in on it too. They know, first of all, they are in on it because that the viewership has grown anyway in college sports across the board. So people are more excited to watch it because you basically watching a professional play in college. You literally are, because they're getting paid. Anybody that's getting paid to do anything, you're a professional.
And that's what they're calling it. They're calling the college now a semi-professional league, Sarah. And don't we have those? What is the G League then? What is that league? What is that league then?
And we not saying
but that just shows that the G League is not what it is anymore, Sarah. It's not there. Yeah. What is the point of the G League? Because you don't have a chance of going really to professional anymore. Why do you think Brownie played in so many NBA games at the end of the game? Because it's better for him to continuously do that than to be in a G League. Or else he should go back down to college. Because that is the semi-professional league based on money, right?
You know what's funny, Dash? I was just watching I was just looking at an article or a little post where, the bastard that plays for BYU, he made a quote. Well, he came out and said, kids stay in school. And then Kevin Durant ended up responding like, the number one, and I'm not quoting this verbatim, but he basically said the number one player is saying this. Like, that's funny. But I get what he's saying. Like, you all stay in school. You're making more money now. Like, everybody isn't a number one player. Everyone isn't a top 10 player. Y'all stay in school and make your money here. Before you go and try at getting into the NBA and you don't make it. Stay in school and make your money here. That's how I took it as. And this conversation that we having just made me get it. Because I'm like, yeah, that's kind of okay. What does he mean? But now I get it once we're having this conversation. And it is funny. Like, stay in school. You should do that.
But Sarah, it's so ironic. You don't hear that. The number one player, like, when did you hear that? You've never heard Kevin Durant saying that. You didn't hear LeBron talking about stay in school, because they knew that to make more money was to go play in an NBA and be the number one draft pick. Now you got the number one draft pick telling people to stay in school. Like, you didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't it? It used to be just be the best you can be to be the number one player. Speaking of the number one player, we just watched D Rose his ceremony talking about how he was excited to be the number one player. You think he would have been saying this? And I'm not talking about, this is nothing about school. This is about the money side of stay in school to make money. We not talking about staying in school to get an education. That's not what that player was saying, Sierra. He did not say that in that way.
Now that I'm interpreting, and I think I know what he was trying to say. I think he's saying that you have an opportunity to make more money if you just stay in school. He said it like kids, stay in school. So anytime you put kids before anything, it's like think about what you're doing, and this is the better option for you. But you're right, DH. When we look at it for a player like D Rose, when we watched his segment, his number one thing is he just want to compete. He just wants to play. So his chances of getting to that highest level and playing, he had to take it. It was no staying in school. All he wanted to do was play basketball. He said he wasn't an actor. He wasn't a model. He was a ball player. Period.
Yeah, and when you think about it, Sierra, if you have that competitive spirit that he has, what are you going to stay in college where you dominated? They literally was in a national championship. Like that's the biggest place you can be in college sports, is to make it to the championship. He wanted to compete more, so he knew his next step was the NBA. Here you have a number one player telling other players, well, stay in school, because not only can you make more money, but actually the competition might be a little bit better, because now we got 20-something, 30-year-old guys in this league.
I just think it's money related why he said
but
that.
Sierra, even if it's not competitive, I'm just my simple fact that I don't like about what the NIL versus NCAA, all of this talk is, you now are, what is the point of a G League? Because you are the semi-professional league. It's no point of it. What we're going to see, Sarah, I give it 10 years, the G League is going to be obsolete.
I give it 6.
Okay, we'll see. It will be obsolete. God's willing that it's still there and that we still able to talk about it. But I will be very surprised about the status of a G League.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? What do you need that for?
Yeah. I just think that the point of it was to get people to get ready for the next level, but also start paying them a small amount or paying them something. But Sarah, now that they're already getting paid,
Sarah, now
you can continue to develop in the college. You can just stay in college long and continue to develop.
There's so many avenues to work around getting to the NBA from high school now that I don't even know what is the point of a G League. You can go play overseas, then you get to the NBA. Oh, you can go play college and really do well there, then get to the NBA. You can just actually follow. It's so many steps now. It's not just that you need the G League.
That the only thing, if it does stay, is just because it's only a select few that is going to get drafted. So this is a chance for those that go undrafted or those that are lower to continue to develop. And then you want to see early looks from those big time players. Like, that's the tradition of it. You will see your top 10 players will be on a team, and for a few weeks you'll get a chance to see them play. So that's all for money.
That's the viewership. Summer league. Sierra, the summer league, G League is two different.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm talking. I think summer league, keep that. The G League. What is the point of having all these teams? Basically, Sierra, let's just say every NBA team. We noticed this. I don't know if every one of them has a G League, but majority of them do.
And I guess it's more from the owners. They need to have a team where they can pull from if somebody gets hurt.
Well,
so I can see that continues to be a thing because of that. So yeah, maybe it'll be 10 years. But this is that for this conversation. We spent a lot of time on basketball, and y'all see that we can talk about it all day. We can argue and debate, and some of it is just never going to be resolved. But we are excited to talk about football. Next week is Super Bowl, and that is going to be an exciting episode for us because that's pretty much where we started. We started around this time last year, so be on the lookout for that episode. But anyway, right now, Deasia, tell me your thoughts about this NFL season. I was surprised anyway that you watched so much football this year.
And yeah, that was surprising for me too. I said it on other episodes that we had that I really got into it because of fantasy football. I ended up second in fantasy football, so that was, that was pretty.
League that we
that was pretty remarkable. That was our family league, that made me watch the players a little bit more closely. I watched some more of the games, but even after our playoffs had went, I found myself still cheering for different teams, especially the Bears, because everybody in our city our whole family was cheering for us. So I easily became a bandwagon fan. I don't think
you admit it, huh?
Yeah, I don't care about admitting that. I can jump on this bandwagon. Like some people, oh, I'm not a band. You know, I wasn't watching football. So what else was
Yeah.
I like? I did not have a team. I guess you could say my team is the Bears, but I don't even really want to say that. I just like certain players. I like to see that Stephon Diggs made it because he was on my fantasy football team, you know? So that's how I followed the season. And I just end up start watching the Bears. And they had a great season. I was glad to see them because a lot of people said they was the underdogs. Now, like I said, I had never been really watching them like that to know if they've been having bad seasons. I just know our family was upset every time they lost. They never would make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, they've had some consistently in the past 4 years, they've been terrible. And I think that the difference was them bringing in Ben Johnson. He's an amazing coach. He was able to fire up not just his team, but this entire city. Um, Good, better, best. That chant, I've heard it almost 100 times. I hear it at work. I hear it in stores. I hear it. They saying it on TV. Like everywhere you go, people are chanting.
No, I'm hearing that bear down everywhere we go. Bear down, bear down.
Yeah, we was in Tennessee and people was bear down. If you have on anything Bears or anytime you say Chicago, bear down. Good, better, best. You just hear it. So I think that he fired up a whole city and you got to give him credit for that. But also,
a lot of it goes to Caleb Williams too.
yeah, that was what I was gonna say next. If you got to give credit to him in that last game, even though he did throw away the ball, he was the reason why they even got into the overtime situation. It was him for running it when he could, for throwing that magical throw into the end zone for that touchdown. I still I'm replaying it in my head over and over. I just still don't understand how he was able to do that. I just think that's remarkable. That's one of the greatest plays that we've ever seen in football's history, period. So I think that the Bears, it might be tougher next year, but Deasia, with this coach, I'm not really worried. I think that they are going to continue to be successful. I hope that they can make a playoff run this year, and I think this city is just right behind them, eager for next season. We're fired up, we're ready to go. It's just unfortunate that we didn't make it all the way. But it's some other success stories, like you said, Stephon Diggs, the Patriots, that young quarterback, he has a chance to start his own, make his own run, kind of being out of the spotlight outside of Brady. You see the Patriots are finally they're going back. So can this be the start of a new dynasty? And then you saw a team that we haven't seen in a while, the Broncos, being able to make a far run. You see the Seahawks. I mean, their wide receiver, he's just amazing. He's spectacular. He seems to be able to get open and just get downfield and make plays. He's just like lightning on the field, but Deasia, he's so finesse as well. So it's gonna be actually an exciting Super Bowl. I'm hyped for it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I think this is the first time in a while that I really don't care about the halftime show as much as the game. I'm more excited for the game, and I know that's a lot of more fans. They was more excited for the game over the halftime, but I just wasn't into football like that. So this season, I don't care about. I mean, I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I probably don't even know one of his songs. I mean, I might know the beat a little bit, but I'm not a fan of his. So this year, I am just focusing on the Super Bowl. If when the halftime show is on, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna like. I don't know the songs. I'm just being honest. So this year I am excited. I'm excited for the commercials. I'm excited for the game. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's a good game. I wouldn't be mad if Stephon Diggs and the Patriots going to win, but we know that a lot of people are saying that the Seahawks got it. Like
This is their year.
Yeah, this is their year. So I'm excited for
them. Yeah. Well, that's been this episode. We can't wait till next week. We have a surprise. We're gonna just kind of talk about everything that we've done with Nothing Lightly and where we are headed into the next season, our next season, as the Super Bowl, the NFL comes to a close of their season. We'll, look towards the future, and then we'll kind of revisit our past few episodes. Deasia, what you got?
Yeah, like Sarah's saying, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for, tuning in this whole season. We get into closing out this season, like our last episode that we'll kind of announce. We're gonna talk about our favorites. It'll be some surprises on there. You'll be surprised to see what we really like, what we didn't like. But just thank you all for listening. Keep following us on Instagram, follow us on